Ugh,
Hey, folks, we are live. Welcome to SVT Time.
what's
I
up?
am sick. I am sick as a dog. I'm just going to say it right now.
Oh
So
man,
I sound horrible, but man, I couldn't miss it. This is SVT Time. It's Tuesday. It is the last episode of 2026, 2025, 20. What year is
I
it?
know. We're almost
Fucking
there,
cold
man.
medicine.
Cheers, bud.
Cheers.
Cheers. I'm
Where's
still
my?
still a teenager, but
Oh,
Batman mugs. Can't
I
have
got
tea
nothing. I got nothing to drink. I'll give you a baseball. How's that?
time.
Man, well, welcome everybody that's tuned in. Paul,
What's up, Paul?
what's up, Paul? Man, thank you for joining us. This is really we don't have any special guests today other than myself and Dom. And yeah, it's kind of a 2025 recap. Um, we want to hear from everybody about what were some of your favorite moments of SVT time this past year. Um,
Favorite
uh,
moments in the base world too.
what's
You
that,
know,
D?
just favorite moments in the base world. Favorite
Yeah.
that came out don't have to be Ampeg.
Yeah,
Which one?
it does not have to be Ampeg. We want to hear you know, name some artists that you guys want to see for 2026 so we can start lining them up. So we have the NAMM show here in the US on next month in January. And that's usually a good time for me to start wrangling a bunch of artists that I run into at NAMM and get them lined up for SVT time. So, yeah, let us hear some artists that you want to see. We also want to hear from everybody, and I know we've touched on this a couple of times in the past. Products. What do you want to see for products?
Yeah.
Like what are you guys seeing? Like in your world as a bass player, what would be like? What would make your life easier? What would make your life cooler? Or what would make your life not so cool? Like some of the things that we currently do.
Yeah.
So yeah, we want to hear that stuff. This Dom and I are the direct line to to products and product development. So we definitely want to hear this stuff.
Would
We
lo-
you,
Great suggestion, Paul. Would love to get Tony Franklin on. That'd be cool.
oh, cool. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I was going to say it's been over a year since we had Tony on. So, um, in fact, yeah, it's been well over a year since we had Tony on. So we could get Tony back on board. Been talking with a few other surprise. I won't say who, but we are working on some new artists coming on and some previous folks that were very involved in the Ampeg family from years past that have shown some interest in coming on board too and talking about the history of the brand. So, but also the other thing that Dom and I wanted to talk about, and this is kind of funny, but not funny, but we wanted to just kind of address some rumors or some not rumors, but just some comments that have come in over the past year on some of the social websites and social Facebook groups and not to open up a can of worms either. Obviously, we're not here to start arguments or anything like that, but we just want to address some things that we've seen on some social groups that we kind of sit back and go, you need to get your facts straight. And who better to get the facts from than from the brand itself, So,
We only
yeah.
speak facts ever.
What's that?
We only speak facts ever.
We only speak facts. We can only speak in truth.
That's right.
But
yeah, that you just opened the door to so many different things that I could address. So, what specifically
yes, yes, the can of worms has been opened.
Yeah, I'm like, which one is he talking about?
But I am going to address here. Haji, actually, Brian Beller, great suggestion, Haji. Thank you. I will reach out to Brian.
A B pedal would be cool. We have these old. They could just. I think Dino. Correct me if I'm wrong. They only made them internally for like Portabase, old Portabase stations or something like that. But we found these old switchers that are like speaker and amp switchers that we use for demos, and they're a prized commodity, at least internally. But I wonder if would any of you actually use that if we had, let's say it's like an 8-way switcher where you have 8 amp heads you could plug in and then 8 cabs.
I'm going to be right back because I'm going to go grab one to show everybody.
Yeah, we use these internally all the time. It's really great to show, especially like something like the Venture line to people. Like if you come by our NAMM booth, last year we did it. I'm sure we'll be doing it this year, where we were demoing. You can hear all 3 heads, and then we can like just feed that into all the different 6 cabs of the Venture lineup. You can just instantly hear the difference in all the cabs. It's really, really useful. But there's also, a minuscule amount of people, maybe not. Bass players are kind of like hoarders of gear, but people that would have like more than 5 or 6 cabs to where this would even be useful. But maybe I'm wrong. Chime in if you like this idea here.
So Dom is referring to this. Now we made a 19-inch rack mount version of this same thing. But this is the portable one, and I know I'm missing a knob cap here, but this is actually, I bring these when I do a demo or an in-store appearance. I usually bring this with me because it's a little more portable, but it's basically you have 8 inputs on the back for the amp and then 8 outputs for the speakers. So you can plug up the 8 heads in here and then switch between any head. And the only disadvantage to this is when you switch from head to head, you physically have to unplug from one amplifier and plug into the other, but there's ways around that. You could do that with an HX Stomp.
Yeah, we basically have HX Stomp going into, at least on our Venture setup or our SVT setup. We have it coming out of both outs and the send, and the return. Nope, the send into there.
Yeah.
And if you're at the booth this year, we just released a video that's an 810 versus the VB88 comparison, where it shows the frequency response of both cabs, but it's much more effective when you can hear this comparison in person. So come on by the booth and we'll be doing comparisons during this NAMM show. It's really, really cool to hear both, because obviously the 810, it's a legend, and it's for great reason, and it still sounds incredible. It's just kind of, you can hear per your taste which one you'd really like to go with. In that format, it's really easy to kind of switch between the two.
Hey, I just want to address something here. Fern Cardenas is saying the video looks like a reel and not full size. And I think that has, Aaron, I think that has something to do with, we're trying out a new format here where we're broadcasting in 16:9, but we're also broadcasting in real size.
That person is on YouTube.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He is on YouTube, and it's showing up as a reel. So I don't know if we can fix that or not. Oh, you can also watch here, Ampeg TV. Okay, cool. I
wanted to. Dave had a great suggestion of a revised version of the SVT 3 Pro. Curious what specific features that you would want in a new SVT Pro. Or would you want it, the 3 Pro does live right now and exist in the world, but in certain regions, based on new safety standards, it can't be sold in certain regions. At least, I don't know if it can be sold. I think it's on here and there.
Yeah, because and that was, in fact, that was actually one of the comments that had come up in one of the social posts about the 4 Pro and the 3 Pro and the 7 Pro, and are they discontinued? Are they not discontinued? Where are they going? What are they going? And I will say this, and I think I've said this before in the past, the 4 Pro and the 3 Pro are almost 30-year-old designs at this point. So not including the SVT, the 3 Pro and the 4 Pro, Ampeg, like those designs, there's no other amp company that I know of. And again, outside of the SVT and maybe the Fender Bassman, but there's no other amp company that's building that continues to build an amp that is 20 to 30 years old. I can go down the list between
Maybe
GK and Aguilar and
maybe the RB800.
no.
Maybe.
GK discontinued the RB800. I had a long conversation with Bob Galian about that years ago, and it was yeah. It, like most manufacturers, it comes down to availability of parts to build the thing, compliance, having to reapply for compliance, which gets really expensive, and then but yeah, the 4 Pro and the 3 Pro are I don't know any other brand that's building, and if anybody can correct me on this, please do, because I'm just curious. I don't think there's any other brand that's producing amps that are as old as the 4 Pro and the 3 Pro at this point.
Yeah.
But to address the comments there, what is going on with the 3 Pro, 4 Pro, and 7 Pro at this point? Do we know?
You're asking me?
Yeah. There's nobody else on the broadcast.
You're asking people like, what do they think's going on with it? I'm trying to decipher what you can share. I would say in an ideal world, 3 Pro, 7 Pro, 4 Pro, could all of those live as one SVT Pro head? If so, how would you, like, feature set wise? Like, a lot of people swear by the 3 Pro, a lot of people swear by the 4 Pro. I think 7 Pro was probably just like the form factor, was the convenience there, but maybe most people it seems like are gearing towards V7 or V12 from the 7 Pro. So let's say 4 Pro, 3 Pro both have an incredible feature set. If you were to combine all 3 SVT Pro heads of the past into, I mean, there's been so many SVT Pro heads of the past, but let's say 7, 4, 3 Pro into one, what all do you want to see, knowing that it is 30 some years later and maybe some features don't matter as, like, are you guys still bi-amping? Do you need a crossover? Do you need all the features that Pro offers? Also the size, it's pretty big hunk of metal there.
Yeah. And that's a great question. Is bi-amping still a thing? I kind of think graphic EQ is kind of still a thing. Like I don't personally use a graphic EQ, but I know a lot of bass players that do. Parametric EQs. I remember at one point in the discussion of development of, I think it was Portaflex, the question came up was, is a mute button really that important on an amplifier? And I was like, yeah, absolutely it is. And then the guy at the time, the product manager at the time, asked me, he says, well, you're an SVT guy. I said, yeah. He says, does an SVT have a mute button on it? I said, no, but that design, again, is 50 years old. We've developed mute buttons since then. But
yeah, I know. I almost feel like as a product designer, legally, I have to put in a mute button just in case anybody gets it. Like, with Venture Series, we wanted to make sure the foot switch and the amp panel both work at the same time, because it's, what if something happens and you're far away from the amp and you can just immediately mute it, via switch. I just want to point out one of the best, least relevant comments we've ever had on this show / podcast / whatever you want to call this. Is it Chi-Town Buster or Channel 1 Town Buster? Is that a Vanessa Carlton song? I think that's the right artist. It's crazy how somebody can type in 2 lines of lyrics, and I had to hear the piano intro in my head. So thank you for that mind control. I'm
trying to find the comment.
You posted it real quick. Somebody did. Yeah.
Oh. I did not even get the reference.
Well done. Somebody is asking, just getting started with bass, and was curious what would be the best starter amp. In our opinion, probably the Rocket Bass RB1 or the 110. Fun story about the 108, because for more, I guess, like more seasoned pro players, most people aren't going to go grab a 108, but let's say you're in the market for, you're like, I just want a little like bedroom, living room amp, something like that. I was playing the 108, and this was years ago when we first launched Rocket Bass, in a back room at NAMM. I was demoing it for somebody, and I was just
right.
clicked in the one button SGT and was just playing some cool rock, grindy kind of riffs kind of thing. And I guess there was a meeting going on with some of the bandmates and Paramore. And one of the guitarists heard, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, is that a new SVT stack? Like, what are you guys playing? Like, I want to go hear that bass, or I want to go hear that amp and check it out." And it was literally the RB108 in a different room. So I don't think you'll be lacking for any either sonic footprint or anything there. I think that'll be more than enough for you. If not, maybe the RB110. But those are great combo amps that are super light. They look like old school B15s, and they sound really great in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. And don't forget about, if you kind of want the rock and roll vibe, you could always look at a Micro CL too.
Yeah.
Which is a cool little amp. But yeah. The one thing I remember in my teaching days, like when talking to like parents and when talking to young beginners, when you get into a combo amp, you almost have to plan for the future a little bit, because what we would see in the music store world or the retail world was, a young beginner would be coming in, and they'd want the smallest, cheapest amp that they could buy, afford, and carry. Mm-hmm. And then we'd always get into that conversation of, don't forget, at some point in your school or your neighbor, you're going to connect with another musician that's going to want to jam.
Yeah.
Or you might join the school band and they may not have an amplifier, so you need to bring your own personal amp. So always anticipate for an amp that might be a little bit bigger than what your immediate needs are right now. But yeah, the 108 and the 110, man, that's great suggestions. And they're plenty loud enough. If you want to connect with a drummer, the 110, the 108 maybe not as much, but the 110 you can definitely get by with a drummer and a guitar player.
The 110 also has a DI out in case you're playing elsewhere and need to pump that through a PA or anything.
That's true too. Yep. So again, keep the comments coming. Like I said, Dom and I we're here to answer a bunch of questions and hear what you guys want to hear. For those just joining us, obviously, like I had asked earlier, want to hear about, what artists you want to see in 2026 come on SVT Time. Even if it's an artist that you've already seen on here, we've had repeat artists come on because obviously their gigs change or they've done a different thing. Like we had Harmony on recently, who just played the Sphere in Vegas with Kenny Chesney, and that was a whole different experience for her to talk about versus, the big stadium tours.
Yeah.
But what are some things, Dom, that we're seeing on I kind of want to dig into this a little bit, that we're seeing on like message boards that we want to dispel or
I know that there's some concern with some price increases that we've had since, I'm going to say, last maybe 3 months or so, which is, I just want to point out, market wide. So like our competitors are doing the same. You might see this outside of the music industry or instruments industry, mostly due to tariffs. Obviously, we have a bunch of new tariffs this past year that were enforced on a bunch of different regions of the world. So I know a big concern were people saying like, wait a second, why is Heritage, which is, made in America, why is that increased if, tariffs shouldn't apply there? But there's only 3 tube companies in the world, or 2 manufacturers in the world, probably.
Yeah.
Maybe 4. And pretty much none of those are in the States. So let's say the 50th anniversary SVT, for example, it's got 14 tubes in it. It's a bulk of, the materials of the amp itself and a bulk of the most expensive ones. And then, you get hit that with tariffs, 14x. So obviously a lot of we're trying not to pass on as much cost or pass on the least amount of cost to our customers as we can. But even the American made stuff, we got to ship in parts and, imported components basically, because those are made in the States. So we obviously, it's not ideal. We're trying to strike a balance between, increasing costs to keep the lights on. And then also, there's minimal, hopefully, that's passed on to the customer. But I just want to clarify that in terms of the Heritage family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Speaking of Heritage, I know there was a comment about the price of not the Heritage heads, but the Heritage cab, the 410 HLF.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it speaks to, you know, yes, it is an American made product, but we source our wood from Canada, sometimes from overseas. The speakers are US made eminence, but the materials that go into those US made eminence drivers are also sourced. So eminence prices go up exponentially. It's this trickle down mess, if you will,
Yeah.
that I don't want to get into socioeconomics or anything like that because I know nothing about them, nor do I want to talk about them on a base podcast. But yeah, it just becomes this mess of, it's easy to point your finger and say, Ampeg's raking in the bucks on this, and it's like, no, we're not really. Like we're trying to absorb as much of our costs as possible, but it literally, when you really think about it, it's like it comes down to just raw materials.
Yeah.
Neodymium magnets, for instance, is the one source of neodymium magnets is controlled by China. That's just the long and short of it. That's where the world gets 99% of its neodymium. It's which is a rare earth. And unfortunately, bass speakers are a small commodity for neodymium use. I mean, we're talking headphones, cell phones, electric car, like everything else that we use in today's technology. Chances are there's some element of neodymium that's being used. So bass speakers, like, they don't care about bass speakers. They're like, yeah, we'll sell you our scraps so you can manufacture. And same thing with tubes. Like the tube manufacturers, they don't care. Like the only thing that's keeping the tube industry alive right now is the small faction of guitar amp and bass amp builders that are buying tubes. And let me clarify this too. The military. Militaries, the military, all from all different countries, they still rely on vacuum tubes as a backup to any kind of EMP, electromagnetic attack, or anything like that. So they don't care about the music industry or guitar amp manufacturers. It's like, yeah, we'll sell you some tubes.
Yeah.
So yeah, and Paul's saying labor costs too. It's labor costs going up. It's just, like I said, it's just this big mess that I just want to address that. It's not us just jacking up prices just because we, for the sake of jacking up a price and trying to make profits. It's like, I don't know about you, Dom, but I haven't seen a pay raise in many years. Not that I'm complaining, but you know what I mean? It's like we're working bass players too. We buy this stuff as well. So
very much.
Yeah, so that's just kind of what it comes down to, really, guys. It's everybody's affected by it, and it sucks. That's the only way I can describe it. Is it just sucks that's what it is. But trying to think of some other things that place of manufacturer, things like that too. It's like, some guys, they'll bash on the brand for being manufactured in China or being manufactured in, any place but the US. And it's like, again, not to get into socioeconomics, but name me a product that's not
that doesn't have imported components or
it's like, this is global economics, guys. This is 2025. Like, the world has gotten a lot smaller since I was a kid. Back in my day, it was like, yeah, you're buying something from China. Or remember, my dad bought a Datsun car. And everybody, a Datsun, not even a Nissan, a Datsun. And everybody in the neighborhood, like, they were like, what are you doing? Like, oh my God. I don't think that's as prevalent today as
I'm also, if we can find manufacturers in the States to do it for the right cost, we'll absolutely do it. But in terms of price increases, like, we don't want to, we don't want things to be, we don't want you paying like $5,000 for a 50th anniversary, or like, I don't know, that stuff can easily get up there. I think when the B15 was made 100% in the States, it was like a $6,000 amp, something like that. And that was years ago, right?
That was 2010. The first 50 launched, they were $49.99.
Okay.
I think they were $49.99. But everything, like we made it a point that the raw materials were sourced from the U.S. All the copper was sourced from the U.S. The iron that went into the transformers, the transformers were all wound here in the States. It was like,
yeah,
I think everything but the tubes were sourced from the U.S., from U.S. components. And yeah, it was expensive. And then I think we did them again the following year, and we produced 150 of them. And I think the price went up to, I think it was $59.99, like almost $6,000 at that point.
Yeah.
There were guys back then and that was 2010, 2011. There were guys then that were like, man, I could build that same amplifier in my garage for, $1,000 or $500. It's like, no, you can't.
Yeah.
you really can't. Not the way we did it. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
So, but yeah, it is what it is. I mean, again, we're not here to talk about socioeconomics or global economics or anything like that. We're just trying to be real and just kind of dispel some of these things. And a lot of people on these message boards would come in and defend it and say, dude, this, come on, let's be real, So,
and thank you. Rick. Shout out from Wisconsin. So thanks for the education, great info. Appreciate all your work. Currently practicing on my BA 115. All right.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Welcome.
I'm curious. A fun question for the group. If you had 3 pedals, and I mean it, just 3 that you could use right now.
Here it comes.
What are they?
I've recently fallen in love with putting a compressor pedal on my board.
Oh yeah.
And I was absolutely against using an onboard, using a compressor on my pedal board.
Why
so? I remember as a student at MI, I had a teacher that was a big session player. And I remember him saying same thing. He hated compressors in the studio, which is unusual. Yeah. But I remember he prided himself on, I remember practicing this way too for a long time. He prided himself on whenever he was in a session that the engineer would never have to put any compression on him, because no matter where he played, the meter was always right where it needed to be. Like he never overplayed or dug in too hard. Like his touch was just, they didn't need a compressor on him. And that was his pride and joy. And I remember him talking about that. And I remember as a student, and I really looked up this guy. His name was Jim Lacefield. He passed away years ago, but I would practice that way, like playing into whatever had a meter on it or an LED, and always trying to be consistent. So I just got it in my head that, a compressor just becomes kind of a crutch for your playing. But then, obviously you get guys like Billy Sheehan that, Billy's a big proponent of compression in his live sound. You hear like all these studio guys like Lee Sklar and Sean Hurley and all, all these cats talking about, LA 2A compressors and what's the
76.
Yeah. The set, and I started watching more and more players. And again, as pedal boards started to develop, I was like, wow, this cat's using, a Cali 76 or an MXR or whatever kind of popular compressor at that time. And even at that, on my HX Stomp, I would have the LA comp version of it on the Stomp, but it was mostly for my in-ears, because I noticed like if you're not using a compressor and you're running in-ears, it can get pretty gnarly in your ears. But then I noticed, and this may come as a surprise to some of you, or maybe not, if you've watched my videos. In fact, I'm going to do a video on this at some point too. I have a condition called essential tremor where my hands shake. And it's becoming progressively worse. I take medication for it. I watch my diet, I exercise, but it becomes progressively worse. And I noticed a compressor on my pedal board kind of masks some of the uneasiness that if I'm having a bad day with my hands, some days I have good days, some days I have bad days. If I have a gig on a bad day, the compressor comes in really, really handy in controlling my unequalness on my attack, if you will.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
I was like mild to no compression for a long time. And then I checked out the Cali 76 because I saw it on so many other people's boards. And I'm like, I got to at least just try it. And now I can't not have it on my board because mostly the blend knob too. I love having that dry signal in there with it. But especially for an SVT, I feel like it's really helpful to have a little bit of compression because that amp is so dynamic. It's like, I remember Rudy saying, you know, his first time on the SVT, he's like, whoa, this is like a beast you have to tame almost. It's like it'll really amplify like all the inconsistencies too.
Yeah.
So that to me is a little helpful.
And that was part of the other mystique. Like I would always think, well, I always play through an SVT, which has natural tube compression.
Yeah.
So why do I need another compressor? But you said exactly why you need another compressor, you know, for that reason, to kind of reel everything in. And I was using, like, you know, at the first, I didn't know how to use a compressor. I didn't know what the controls did. So anytime I would dial in a compressor, I was like, man, that sounds awful. Like it's just it's killing my son. Yeah, it's just squishing everything. So now that I have an idea on how to use a compressor and what all the knobs actually do. Haji just commented here too. He's like, yeah, Billy Sheehan loves compressors so much he named an album after it. Compressor. I remember that album too.
Yeah, and his stuff, like, of all, I would say, like, all bassists that their bass is like really cutting through the mix, I would put like him, Geddy Lee, and maybe Flea in that category. And those are all, I feel like, heavily compressed tones but you're never going to not hear them in the mix. Like they're sticking out there.
Yeah.
Paul's using the SGT, the Big Muff Pi Deluxe, and the Venture V7 comp. Nice.
Yep. And the compressor on the go ahead.
The Venture compressors, the onboard ones, a lot of people are like, man, it's just a one knob compressor, give us more. But my mindset behind it was, it's really nice if you don't have a compressor to just use that as maybe, like, you're probably using the LA2A on the stomp where it's like end of your tone. It's kind of just there to just barely take away any like spiky transients or anything like that. And most people have their specific compressor that they love on their board. So I didn't want to like over engineer and put a full blown massive compression kind of circuit into the amp. So it's like, it really is there to just like either you don't have a compressor on your board and it's there to catch whatever, or it's just the end of the line kind of thing to just smooth out your tone a little bit.
Yeah.
But I like it for what it is.
Yeah, it is a very functional compressor for an onboard compressor, no question about it.
Yeah.
I just put this up. Dave is looking for compressor, distortion, and phaser.
Or those are the three favorite pedals, I think.
Oh, okay.
But I do have a question on the phaser, because I went through a phase of tracking, of like only ever tracking with a phaser for a very long time. I kind of want to get back to it. It really does like widen out the tone. I'm curious how you're using it mainly, Dave. Are you like, just a little bit of mix to kind of like widen it out a little bit, or are we getting really funky on the attack, or what? I feel like phaser's underrated these days.
So I don't know if anybody can answer this. What is the technical difference between a phaser and a chorus? Like, we know what a chorus does. I know a chorus takes your signal and choruses it. I guess I don't know what a chorus does. Scratch that. Anybody that can...
How does a liquefier work? Exactly.
I can explain how the liquefier works. So the liquefier is a dual chorus.
Dual chorus, not even a dual bass chorus, it's a dual chorus.
It's a dual chorus. Yeah. I mean, we were going to call it a bass chorus, but then we were like, we're alienating 75% of the market because it is actually a really good guitar chorus pedal.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what a dual chorus does is, so a chorus pedal will take your signal and replicate it. And you'll have your direct signal and then you have your chorus signal. If you look at a chorus signal, it kind of looks like a squiggly line. What a dual chorus does is it takes that direct signal and times it by 2. So you have one chorus that's going like this. You have a second chorus signal that is counteracting. So as one is phasing in, the other one is phasing out. And they're kind of intertwining with one another. And that's why, like on a single chorus pedal, when it phases out, you lose that bass response. And then when it phases back in, you get that bass response. That's why, like, from what I understand, a lot of single chorus pedals don't really, they work for bass, but not as well. The dual chorus, as one is phasing out, the other one's compensating by phasing in. So you don't lose any of that big fat bottom end with the liquefier and with any dual chorus. There's a couple other dual chorus pedals out there that I can't remember the names, but that's how a dual chorus was explained to me. And if you turn the rate up fast enough on the liquefier, it actually turns into almost like a vibrato because those two signals are interacting with one another so quickly. It actually does sound like a vibrato. But it's a great guitar. A lot of people don't realize, man, that's a great guitar chorus pedal too. It's not just a bass chorus. So if that's what a chorus pedal does, what does a phaser do? Because it is definitely a different sound, right? Between a phaser and a chorus.
Yeah.
You know,
I want to say chorus is mostly like an LFO situation where phasers maybe doing some high filtering, comb filtering kind of thing. I don't know. Should know that. Dave uses the EHX Small Stone after the Seymour Duncan Studio bass comp and before the Jam Rattler. I don't know what the Jam Rattler is.
Yeah, what is a Jam Rattler?
Cool. For some pick work and some intros. Okay, so yeah, so you're kind of getting that attack, the phase attack. I love that.
Yeah.
This great Doobie Brothers songs with, like, I feel like picked phaser. I'm checking out the band.
And I know we can't get into it too much here, but obviously Ampeg has come out with some really good pedals in the past. Are we looking at doing more pedals down the road?
I would love to do more pedals down the road. Yeah, I think I can at least say that we are definitely working on pedals.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it makes, it makes sense. Obviously we've got 2 pedals that are in the SVT suite that aren't physical pedals yet. I don't know if there's a chance that those might become physical pedals, but it would make sense.
Mark said spill all the beans.
Spill some
of the beans. I'll tell you what, I know you got that vintage P bass. We can talk. Man has his price.
You were just looking at vintage P basses a little while ago, weren't you, Dom?
I was. And
you get a little sticker shock?
Get more heartbroken than anything. Yeah. Yeah. I remember them being a little less back then. Talk about price increases. My God.
Yeah. If anybody has a mid-50s P bass,
that's a problem. I like the 50s
for under 5 figures.
Yeah.
Oh man.
63 are my 2 favorite years.
For under 5 figures. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're out there. I tell you that
it's like they're out there, but I gotta physically play one.
Yeah.
That's part of the problem.
You hear these stories, man. I stop into, like, in the fall out here in New England, we've got yard sales and barn sales and garage sales. You can spend your entire fall, autumn, every weekend going to garage sales. And when I'm out on the bike, or if I'm out on the bike with Rach, if I see a big enough yard sale, I'm always looking, because you hear these stories about, dude, check out what I just, barnyard find at this, and the guy sold it to me for, and it's like buying the winning lottery ticket or the golden ticket and Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Well, yeah,
you never know.
Yeah.
Andy Baxter, Base UK, used to have a few, and I know Andy. Well, I don't know him personally, but I'm familiar with the shop. And there's also Andy Base. I think he's in Australia. He's always putting like these gorgeous vintage P bases.
It's part of my thought too, is like I have this romanticized idea of like I'll be on tour one day and we'll just be in the UK or we'll be somewhere else and I'll just stumble into a music store and then there it will be.
And you'll spend your entire tour earning
the entire tour
and come back home.
Say, sorry,
completely broken.
I guess we'll call it.
Yeah. So what else for 2026, guys? Like what do we want to see? Do we think bass amps are dead? Are bass amps going the way of the dodo? Like, are we seeing more and more clean stages, even all the way down to, to the club circuit or the sports pub circuit, where guys are just showing up with their preamp pedal and a set of in-ears and a DI? Or, me personally, I will always bring an amplifier to a gig. And there's been a lot of gigs I've gone to and gone, I really didn't need to bring an amp to this gig, but I'm glad I did.
That experience is a little different now with like Ventures and Rocket basses, and you don't have to haul like an 810 and a SVT to be like, I'm not going to use it.
Yeah.
Something lighter.
Yep. Oh, that's a good question too. I want to know from everybody who, obviously there's people on here that own Venture, but who has not had a chance, or how can I word this? Who hasn't tried out a Venture head yet? And if not, what was the reason? You're just not interested in it, or it's not available in your area, or we want to hear from that. We want to hear everybody's thoughts on that.
Here, I'll give you Dino's number and he'll send you one if you.
I won't send you one, but you're more than welcome to swing by the house.
Yeah.
And plug into anything you want. I still say this publicly, man. Anybody Berkeley is literally an hour from my house here. And I tell all the students every time I go down there, anytime you want to come up to the house and check stuff out, just bring coffee and munchies, and you can hang out here as long as you want until my wife throws you out.
Just the coffee.
Just the coffee. Until the coffee runs out.
Yeah.
It used to be bourbon and beer, but we can't do that anymore. We never got anything done.
Next one's great for that.
Yeah.
Ian had a cool question. Where was that? Does Ampeg offer valve replacement packages for sale? It would be cool to have a one-stop shop for purchasing sets of replacement valves, especially probably for power tubes, I'm guessing too. We had talked about that once we got the Ampeg super valves into the 50th, but it is a massive, it's like a whole operation that we would have to add to our supply chain. So it's not out of the question. It's something we have put on the table in the past. If we get some more in that, maybe we could set that up. And matching, right? That is the
and to further that, Ian, there is I think I could say who it is. There's an online company. I think it's called Eurotube. Eurotube.com. And I don't know if I don't think they're based in Europe. I think that's just the name of the company. They specifically, if you go to their website, they specifically have packages. Like if you have an SVT 2 Pro, you can buy the 2 Pro package. Or if you have an SVT CL, they know what tubes go in a SVT CL. You can buy the whole package directly from them.
Cool.
Just food for thought. Yeah. Fern, I'm in answer to my question. You have not, would love to. Main reason is money on the Venture stuff. Okay. It doesn't cost anything to try it out. I mean,
just your time and then fantasy.
Yeah. No, I know.
If you're less like me, it costs.
And again, it's dangling that carrot, and I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I mean, considering, and that was a question that came up, like, the price on cabinets versus the price on heads, and there is a jump in price on cabinets versus the price on the heads. How are we doing on? Oh, you got a split, dude.
Yeah, I just looked up and I was like, oh, that's yeah. I got to go have meetings about making new products for y'all.
Yeah, you do. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll keep this open if that's all right. I'll keep this open for like another 10, 15 minutes. Dom, I know you got to run though, because you got to get into the office.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll keep on talking with people and answering questions, Aaron, if that's all right with you in the background. And
if I'm gone, if anything goes haywire, just blame it on me because I'm not here. It's fine.
Oh, totally. Guys,
Mark, I'll give you a call. Come into that meeting.
we are going to be throwing Dom under the bus as soon as he shuts down. But no, go ahead, dude. Thank you for great job on 2025, and
let's roll into 2026. Let's get some new stuff out, and I want to thank each and every one of you for listening this year, tuning in, giving us some great feedback. You feel like family, and happy holidays to y'all. Dino, I'll see you sooner than later.
Yeah, I will see you in probably this afternoon in a meeting.
Yes. Everyone.
Take care. Thank you. So that's it, guys. I'm just going to go down the list here and just kind of answer some of the questions here. Concur during. I have a valve. Oh, it's moving around on me. Hi-fi and valves can be a tricky buy. Yeah. Haji, you had posted here. I'll just put it up here. Yeah. Flip Tops, Tube Store, Tube Depot. Most of the major online places all sell sets. So there you go. Man, I don't have anybody to talk to now other than, well, I have you guys to talk to. But like I said, we'll keep it open for a few more minutes here. I definitely want to hear what you guys, what you want to see, what you want to hear. This is interesting. I am an auto flower addict. Yeah, we'll get rid of that. I think limited edition auto. I won't even get into that. Sorry. Use my tuner every day. The more we talk about comp, the more I want to get the OptiComp. I have not tried a Venture yet. Well, I'm going to try an Ampeg product. Will not fit. An OptiComp would definitely fit in your Christmas stocking. Actually, the OptiComp is a really cool pedal. It is an optical compressor. It's a real optical compressor. For I think they're like $120 or $130 or something like that. But it is a very simple compressor. It's optical circuit. So anytime an optical circuit basically works as anytime you hit the signal, there's an optic in the pedal that lights up that actually trips the compressor. I'm not an electrical engineer, guys. I just kind of know how some of this stuff works and how it affects my sound. So, but yeah, for a good, all-in-one, easy to use compressor, the OptiComp is great. Try the Venture stuff. It's still it's a new product, but it's not a new product. It's been out for over a year now. We're still seeing a lot of people on the message boards not knowing that Venture comprises of 3 heads and at this point 6 cabinets. So if you have a local store that carries Ampeg and they don't have Venture, you can always request to get a Venture head in the cabin. If they are an Ampeg dealer, they should be carrying it anyways, just to show it off. You can't sell it if you don't carry it. Haji is great point, Haji, about Arthur, the guy that designed the OptiComp. He is a super pedal nerd in the greatest way. So that's right too, because I remember Arthur saying he wanted to do this pedal, the OptiComp, a specific way. Let's see, Paul. Man, we're winding down here. This is like I said, this is the last show for 2025. So Paul, Dino, your favorite tone settings. I'm glad you asked that, Paul. I will answer that. I generally set everything And this is the thing that I love about all of my Ampeg stuff is no matter whether I'm playing an SVT or a Venture head or a Pro Series head, the controls are pretty much the same. So I know the bass control is going to do the same. I know the mid-range. So to answer that question, I generally set everything flat. Plug my bass in. I set my volume. If it's a CL or a Venture, I set my gain control and I set my master volume with everything flat. And then I make small adjustments according to the stage or the band that I'm playing with. I generally never use the ultra low or the ultra high. That always stays off. I turn the bass control maybe to 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock the most. And again, it all depends on the cab I'm using, but 2 o'clock, sometimes 3 o'clock at the very, very extreme. Like if it's just a dead stage and I need the bottom end. Mid-range, I set at 500 hertz, and then I boost that to about 1 o'clock. And then treble control, I generally leave that flat too. And I don't use any graphic EQ on the Pro Series stuff like the 3 Pro and the 4 Pro. I generally either set it flat or I will turn it off, or in the most useful cases, and this is what a graphic EQ is supposed to do, is I will use a graphic EQ to cut frequencies out of my sound. So if I'm on a boomy stage, I'll search out those frequencies on the bottom end and cut those out to kind of even off the sound. I usually will never use a graphic EQ to boost stuff. I'll always use it to cut stuff, just to make it easier on the guy running front of house too. But yeah, and like I said, the beauty of going from an SVT to a Pro Series to a Portaflex to a Vent, all those controls kind of do the same thing. So after 30 some odd years using Ampeg amps, I never have to I don't even have to look at the control to see where I'm setting it. It's just it's there. So, thanks for asking that though. Closest venture to me is in Hollywood. Okay. I don't know where I'm assuming you're in Southern California, Fern. I don't know, there's Guitar Center in Hollywood. There's a bunch of dealers, in Southern Cal, or hey, maybe at some point when I'm out there and Dom's out there, we come out to NAMM. If you can come out to NAMM on Saturday, January 20 something, I think is public day at NAMM. Come down to Anaheim and come to the Ampeg booth, and Dom and I will be there. We'd be more than happy to run you through all the cabinets and all the heads, and we'll have our fancy dancy switcher there so we can switch between all the cabs as well. So yeah, guys, we're winding this down. What can I say? It's been an absolute pleasure and an honor to do this every single or every other Tuesday for the most part. We've had some great artists on. All of my artists are the favorite. I can't say I had a favorite artist because they're all my favorites. I love talking with people and getting their insight, and I love talking with you guys. So I'm going to sign off. Until 2026, I wish everybody a happy and safe and fantastic holiday season. No matter how you celebrate it to the best way possible. And here's to a healthy, happy, and prosperous 2026, everybody. And we'll see you in the new year. All right. Take care.